Facebook, Yelp, all the information websites out there. So it's really going to make a difference.
That is awesome. That is so cool. So you're going to be expanding your practice as well, right?
Yep.
Am I at liberty to say that?
Yes. And if there's any chiropractors out there that want to submit to becoming a corrective chiropractor, which is about 6 more months of intense friggin' training.
Oh, wow.
We're looking for 2 more guys.
That's great. So you wanted to come in today and talk about motivation. That's one of the things we have a lot of the people that write in to us is, how do I stay motivated? A lot of people write in and they'll say things like, well, the holidays are coming up, or my husband or my wife is not on board with this kind of thing. And how do I continually be healthy and stay motivated? That's a real issue with people.
Not only is it essential for disease reversal, but for disease prevention, you got to have a change in your mental status. Mm-hmm. And this is the weird part, because when on our entrance form, person comes in, they write down their symptoms, back pain, neck pain, anxiety, sleep, bowel disorders, whatever. On the bottom of that, I got, do you want to get better? And honest to God, and I got a yes or no box. People will check no sometimes.
Wow.
Because they don't know. I was doing an exam on this one gal just this past week. And she was just total perfect body posture for depression and anxiety. She has mastered that emotional state where she's hunched over, heads forward. And I said, what are you going to do when we get you better? What are you going to do when you can walk without pain and do this? I don't know. And it was like, well, I told her straight out, you're never going to get better. Okay, and so what you have to do, and because emotions are chemicals secreted by your brain on how you perceive the environment, and your body responds on a cellular basis. So if you do not change that emotional state, you're going to be under consistent chemical assault that your body's going to respond to on a cellular basis. So now this is the key, not just motivation. How do you change the emotional state or the chemicals that your brain secretes so your body changes on a cellular basis? So motivation on a cellular basis. Oh my God.
Yeah,
that's mind-changing.
Now do you think that's kind of a spiritual or a personal development issue too as well? Because people have to have those deeper reasons as to why they want to, why would someone not eat the cake and the ice cream when it's being passed around the dinner table? What makes someone say no to that?
It's your focus, okay, and your actual potential. We've got a really close friend that has a hip that's damaged, that can recover, but it's going to require her to wear a trochanter support, do some exercises, get adjustments, and it'll take 4 or 5 years to have the hip regenerate brand new. And she wants to go in there and get that cut out and get a brand new hip.
Oh, really?
Aluminum and fiberglass, and Teflon, whatever the heck they're making them out of, and because she's not willing to do the effort.
Yeah,
and
it's work.
It's work.
It's work.
And one of the things people don't know that there's 2 different intelligences that it's like a law, like the law of gravity. There's an innate inborn intelligence in the body that governs and controls everything. This is why you can eat a banana in the morning and you turn it into blood cells by the afternoon. Okay, you eat an apple and the malic acid is going to clean the arteries of the kidneys. I mean, your body can break fruits, vegetables, plants, animals down to protein, fats, carbohydrates, and break those to amino acids, fatty acids, and carbohydrates. And you do this because it's an innate inborn intelligence. There's a universal intelligence that governs everything else. Now, tapping into that universal intelligence, when people realize that you're part of that. So it could be spiritual, you could view it as that, but to get your goals, you have to tap in to your potential. And this is what people aren't realizing. So how do you realize your potential when you've had a chronic illness or disease, when you've just lost a spouse, when you've lost a job, when you feel your whole world is crashing around you? How do you change your perception of your potential?
Because those people are just trying to tread water. Their wife or husband just died. They've got a diagnosis.
Yeah.
They're just trying to come up for air, just trying to get back to not drowning, really.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
But we want these people to be at that level of going higher and going, okay, what can I do? How can I use this?
And this is not positive affirmations. It's not positive thinking. It's changing your view of your potential by tapping into this universal intelligence.
But how have you seen people do that?
Oh, it works 100% of the time. It's a technique. This is like, if I was to tell you this is how to hold a tennis racket, this is how to swing, and we practice hitting balls for all day long, you'd be better at hitting the tennis balls. To tap into this universal intelligence, you lock yourself in a room, okay, you, a piece of paper and a pencil or pen, and you write down 100 things to do, be, or become. You don't leave the room. You stay in there. And you write down, and because anyone can write down 10 things or 20 things. So you might write down, okay, I'm going to learn how to ride a bike. Okay. I'm going to ride the length of California. I'm going to hike the John Muir Trail. And then, like 20, 30 things into that, it's like, geez, I don't know. Okay, I'm going to learn Swahili. I'm going to hang with the Maasai. I'm going to learn cooking class in Tuscany. Then you're up to 50 and 60 and 70. Then you're going to come up with fanciful things like, gee, I'm going to learn Mandarin. Okay, I'm going to hike Mount Kilimanjaro. I'm going to climb El Capitan. I don't know. I'm going to skateboard the Great Wall of China.
I just want to get out of this room.
Yeah, it's like I'm going to make up crap that I don't even know if I can do. Okay, and that's the key.
Okay.
Because we put so many limits and barriers on our mind. If we're forced to do an exercise that forces us to expand on that, and then now here's the next key. You've written down 100 things to do, be, or become, and you feel like you've just taken a mental crap. It's like, thank God I got to 100. Then you go through each one and you put a 1, a 5, or a 10 next to each one. Whether you could accomplish it in 1 year, whether you could accomplish it in 5 years, or whether you could accomplish it in 10.
Now, are these things that, I would love to be a Laker. I love basketball.
Yeah, perfect.
So would I put that, even though
be a professional basketball player.
All things are indicating that I will probably never be on the Lakers. So would I put that on there?
You would absolutely.
Like dreams that may or may not happen.
Anything that you do, be, or become. Okay, so now you're in good shape. Okay, you're in reasonably good shape. To be a professional athlete, you're going to have to train probably 40 hours a week for, maybe a year. Okay, you're going to have to take classes and everything. So when you're looking back at that list, the 1, the 5, and the 10, you might not be able to be a pro basketball player in a year. But in 5 years, yeah. You could go in. You could start getting connections with different teams. You could start playing the lower leagues. Okay, you could start to get your name known. Okay, so you might. It would take 5 years. It wouldn't take you 10 years.
But really, it's who you become in that process anyway, right? So regardless of whether or not you achieve the goal, it's really just about who we become.
Let's say scuba dive the Great Barrier Reef was yours. You've got so many things going on. Okay, with the radio show, with affecting people's lives, with everything that you're doing. You probably couldn't do it in a year. You might be able to do it in 5 years. So when you go back over that list, these fanciful things, now, I could probably skateboard the Great Wall of China in 10 years. Okay, because right now I don't have the opportunity to skateboard 1,000 miles. Okay, so it makes the fanciful stuff a little bit more real. Let's say you're 100 pounds overweight, and you put hike Mount Whitney. 5 years is a doable goal.
Oh yeah.
A year might not be it. They call it the furnace run, where you run from Badwater, the worst or the lowest spot in the world in Death Valley.
That's right.
And you run up to I think Whitney Portal.
Yeah, Whitney Portal is like 8,000 feet.
Yeah,
so something like that. Yeah,
we used to go backpacking there all the time.
It's great. Yeah,
and that's a grueling run.
How far is that, by the way, just as an aside?
I think it's like 100 miles. I'm not sure, but
Wow.
it's ridiculous.
Okay.
And I've seen guys that have finished it, and they're like walking skeletons, and their joints are sore.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I could probably do that in 5 years. Okay, maybe 10.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if I wrote the Furnace Creek Run, okay, I'd put 10 years. I could do that if I wanted to train to do that.
So with the 1, 5, or 10, those are the years you want to take to accomplish that goal.
That you think that you could do it.
Okay.
So now it makes that fanciful thing that you got from the universal intelligence. Then you look at that sheet, you put a 1, a 5, a 10. I could do that in 1 year. I could do that in 5 years. I could do that in 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Then you look at the sheet again, and you pick the top 5 1-year goals, the top 5 5-year goals, and the top 5 10-year goals.
Okay.
And this is what you're gonna build your world around. You're gonna go on the top 5 1-year goals, and you're gonna build a vision board out of that. And this is just going on Google and typing in images. You type in Great Barrier Reef scuba diving. You type in Maasai warriors. You
Just print it out and put it on your board.
You know, walking across the desert with a Bedouin,
Mm-hmm.
visiting Morocco, going to Casablanca, reliving Rick's Cafe, I mean, all the adventures and things that you want to do. And you put an image there, and this is what you look at every day. And it becomes not just more real, it becomes, this is what I've got to do. So now, if you're training for something, your goal in a year is or 5 years to be a pro basketball player. When that cake comes around, you're not going to take it because I'm sorry, it's not part of my goal.
Nice. I like the way the minimum amount of time is 1 year, because so many people write in and they'll say to us like, oh gosh, I'm trying to lose X amount of pounds in 14 days or 15 days or something. And it's like, oh my gosh, you're trying to change a lifetime of dietary habits in a matter of 2 weeks. I mean, that's
just the coolest thing ever. Okay, because everybody listening to this, if you've ever made a goal that didn't come to fruition, raise your hand. Mm-hmm. Everybody's freaking hands.
Yeah.
Okay, because now a brilliant man told me this one time. There are no unrealistic goals, only unrealistic timelines. Okay. So throw away the friggin' timeline. Okay. Mm-hmm. This is going to be 1, 5, or 10, and your psyche and mind, if you don't do it in a year, by God, you're on the right path. Uh-huh. Okay. If your goal is to lose 100 pounds in a year and you've lost 50, what's going to happen the next year? By God, 40 pounds is going to go. Mm-hmm. By God, another one's going to go. And all the lifestyle changes you've done to achieve that, to be a pro basketball player, what's your life going to be like after 4 months of training? Uh-huh. I mean, you're going to be excited every day you get up. If your goal is to, hang with your grandkids, play. We've got this one guy. I mean, oh God. Just an old, sweet grandpa guy that could barely walk from the car in. Oh, wow. After a month and a half of doing everything that we tell everything that everybody knows they need to do, change your diet, get some supplements, get your nervous system checked, start walking barefoot a half hour a day. If you can't do that, do it 5 minutes a day. Mm-hmm. Within 4 months, he was playing catch with his grandkids. That's like, wow. I mean, goosebump stuff.
Yeah. He couldn't even walk in the office?
Could barely walk. He was a guy that would get out of the car after 3 or 4 minutes, walk to the end of the car that took like a couple of minutes, take a couple of breathers, walk the 20 feet to the front door, take a breath, open it up. I mean, miserable. But, wow. We're talking 4 blood pressure medications, a couple of cholesterol, antidepressant, sleep medication. Jesus, if I took all those drugs, I don't know if I could make it to the front door.
I know, right? It's like crazy. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, I like that. The one of the things I always think about too is the direction that you're heading, and how is what you're doing on a daily basis facilitating that direction you're going. So a lot of times what people say is, I'm going to eat this cake, or I'm going to eat this ice cream. It's no big deal. It's not going to kill me. And you're right, it's not going to kill you. It's just one piece of cake. It's not going to kill anybody. But does it line up with the person that you are either becoming, or you've chosen to become, or the person who you are now? And a lot of times I like to think of like our genetics are a gift to us. And what are we going to leave a replication of our genetics? And is that going to be somehow weaker than the genes that I have? So if my genes are a gift to me in my lifetime to use and to express, then what am I going to somehow pass on a weaker gift to my next generation? And so a lot of people don't think about their genes as a gift, and so it's not just what we can become in our lifetime, but how is my family line going to be strong and robust after the genes get through with my body? You know what I mean?
Brilliant.
So,
and that's what the great cultures, and I'm talking about Native American cultures, Asian cultures, it's very common. It's not what you're doing at the moment. It's 7 generations down.
Yeah.
Okay. Like it's why do we use non-fluoridated toothpaste? Why do we conserve water? Why do we eat organic foods? Why, if you're eating animal products, why are they healthy animals that are cared for? Why do we not throw trash in the ocean? We're thinking not just our life in our genetic expression, but how it's affecting the world and the planet.
And for generations to come, right?
Generations to come, man.
It's not just about us. We think it's I think there's probably levels of these things, right? You have the very basic sort of intro. Someone gets into health maybe just because they want to lose a few pounds, and then eventually, hopefully, it becomes something much deeper and much broader for people as a reason why they don't partake in bad food or poor lifestyle habits. But it's ultimately it needs to be something deeper, doesn't it?
Yep. And that's where that mindset and that goal changes. There's also and this is one of the other techniques that we use. So the first one is 100 things to do, be, or become.
Okay. How long does it take people to do that, by the way?
Usually between 1 to 4 hours. My oldest son could probably do it in like 3 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, and he says, "Why stop at 100?" He's a little out there.
Oh man, that's funny.
My youngest son's more creative. It might take him like 4 or 5 hours.
Okay.
Because he's focused in on 2 things: paintball and art.
Yeah.
But to expand that world might take a little bit longer.
So now, are these also things people can put, or can people also put things on this list that are maybe business related or relationship related? I want to be a better husband or wife. I want to grow a business, that kind of thing too?
Absolutely. But you do it in present tense.
Okay.
So you do it in I am a more attentive husband. And you don't put intangible things like happiness. Okay. Jesus, anyone that's happy all the time is stoned. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You can't be in a consistent emotional state. Positive mental attitude. No, you gotta. There's 2 sides to everything, and mastery of life. It's almost like Dr. DeMartini does a spinning top. If you're in a judgmental aspect, your life is a very low functioning, where it's black or right or wrong, and that's like a top that's black on one side, white on the other.
Okay.
The master actually sees the gray. They see both sides, the positive and the negative.
Okay.
It's like death in the family. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, it's bad because there's a loss, but it's also good because it teaches the kids or parents more independence, or it makes you appreciate life more. So you start looking at this, at the challenges in life. It just takes you on a different direction.
Okay.
And there are always benefits and negatives to everything that life experiences. And it's a mastery will see that. However, and that's what that 100 Things to Do, Be, or Become does.
Okay.
It gives you a chance to see both sides and to change. But then also, there's the second exercise we do. And this is neurolinguistic programming.
Okay.
Yeah, because to change your emotional state is tremendous. This thing gives you goals, it gives you an idea, and it starts to change those neurons in the brain to fire. But if you can change how the neurons in your brain fire, you change how they're literally wired together, and then that changes the emotional state, which changes the chemicals that your brain secretes.
Okay.
It's like, imagine someone that's totally mastered their emotional state. They're beautiful, young, famous, successful, rich, and they commit suicide. Okay? So despite all the outer trappings, despite the influences in their mind, they've mastered that emotional state of depression and anxiety and thoughts that are horrible. Okay.
Okay.
That are not life affirming.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a way to retrain your brain, and we call it the I am exercise. And it uses a lot of neurolinguistic programming techniques.
Mm-hmm.
And there's only 4 things you got to do with this. Okay. Body posture, intonation,
Mm-hmm.
breathing, and volume.
Mm-hmm.
So in what this does is body posture, by sitting up straight, putting your chin up straight, you're literally forming the curve back in your neck. You're taking pressure off of the brainstem, and you're allowing dopamine to produce.
Okay.
Oxygenate your brain has a calming effect. So diaphragmatic breathing is huge.
Okay.
And then breathing and volume, that's going to start to imprint it. It's like if you're trying to be motivated, you're not going to be reading really quiet and soft and I'm reading motivational stuff. Yeah. You're going to be voluminous.
Right.
And I recommend doing this exercise in a car. And you don't need to have, it's not positive thinking. It uses the I am, it's called the Moses Code.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that. That's a good video, a good movie.
It really works, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking the Quran, the Torah, and the Bible all got Moses talking to the burning bush.
Yeah.
What do I call you, burning bush? Okay. I am that I am.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. This is good.
and so it's weird because you'll say I am, and I've had so many patients, and I give them a list to choose from, like I am enthusiastic, I'm fulfilled, I'm dynamic, I am healthy, I am vibrant, I am alive, okay, I am content. There's a whole list, and I give them also a list of familiar words to 100% of the people that have had physical, chemical, or emotional challenges. They have the same self-talk. I am burnt out. I am frustrated. I am hurt. I am exhausted. And they say this self-talk to them, which creates the way the brain fires, which creates an emotional state. And emotions are chemicals secreted by the brain, and your body follows that and responds to that chemical assault. So you can change the emotions by using that I am exercise 10 minutes 3 times a day. You do it just like practicing tennis.
So what's an example? Like, what would be an example? Someone would pick 5 phrases or so, or 10 phrases and repeat those? Or
20 or 30. I've got a list of about 50 words.
Okay.
And some of them I don't identify with. Like one of them's I am tickled. I'm not tickled kind of guy.
Yeah.
Okay? Yeah. Serene, I am serene. No, I don't identify with that.
So you can pick whatever ones you want to use.
Yeah, or make your own up. Or if you self-talk in Spanish, yo soy.
Yeah.
Yo soy fuerte. I mean, whatever you want, Portuguese.
Okay.
And you do it 10 minutes 3 times a day. I do this every morning on the way to work. And because I get up 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm in the car by 4:30. I'm at the office by 4:45. I'm not that perky.
Yeah.
Okay.
Takes a while.
Yeah, but I got like 6 or 7 cars waiting for me. So every morning I get in the car, turn on the car, and I body posture, intonation. I am strong. I am healthy. I am dynamic. I am connected to the healing source of energy. God's love flows from God through me into my patient. And I say this affirmations about speaking, about affecting lives, about being dynamic, and all of this stuff. I do that for the 10-minute drive to work. I get out of that car, dude, I am on fire. I am glowing because I've changed my neurons, how they fire. I'm forcing them to give me a certain emotional state.
Are you doing any breathing exercises during that time?
Diaphragmatic breathing. Most people only breathe with the chest muscles. Okay, when you breathe in, your tummy has to come out, and you blow out, your tummy goes in. So you're using the bottom 2/3 of your lungs. You're using larger lung surface area. Of course, I got the windows rolled up in my car, so people think I'm talking on like the cell phone.
Yeah. No big deal these days.
They think, Jesus, Bergman must be Italian. Look at him yelling.
So you do this in the morning before you get to work, and then you do it 2 other times?
Well, for people with chronic illness, that we have to change it, they have to do it 10 minutes 3 times a day.
And are they doing the same affirmations those 3 times, or could they pick different ones?
The same programming.
Okay.
I wouldn't call it affirmations.
Okay.
And it's weird. Some people will call it incantations, which gets a weird vibe.
It's like witch, kind of a witch thing.
Yeah. No, but it's more an exercise.
Okay.
And it's not positive. I am dynamic. That could be positive. I am strong. I am healthy. I am vibrant. I am a great father. I'm, don't say anything. My son's over there. He says, I got an opinion on the dad thing. You suck in so many ways. It's just about my neuro-linguistic program.
Yeah.
Okay, settle down.
I'm trying to be good.
Yeah, so it's just an exercise like doing tennis.
Okay.
Because people have been burnt out by saying, yeah, I tried that positive affirmation stuff, it didn't work. I tried, the positive thinking, it didn't work for me. Because they're not balancing it out. This is a 10-minute exercise, and then you go deal with life.
Okay.
And life could be that you lost your job or got financial or physical challenges, or you're in an environment that you're not happy with. And then, bam, you get another few hours of life, then you do the neuro-linguistic programming. And that changes your chemical emotional state. Then you get another few hours of life. Okay, so if you do it
before bed or something.
You do it at lunchtime. You do it right before bed. And what you're doing is you're changing your emotional state, which changes how your body functions. And you're going to start to attract different things into your world that make that happen. And because it's an attractive universe. And you do that by changing your chemicals or your emotional state that changes the chemicals your body responds to on a cellular basis. You change your whole world, baby. Mm-hmm. Each day that you do that, your life gets a little bit different, a little bit changed.
Well, it's the same thing too. If someone's equating this exercise with going to the gym or becoming better at basketball or skateboarding, whatever, every day you're not going to see much difference. But over the course of a year, you start noticing, wow, I am really good at whatever I'm practicing. So a lot of times I think people think that it doesn't work because they're looking at, from one day to the next. Mm-hmm. But you say, hey, if I do this every day for a year, I need to compare to where I was a year ago, not where I was 2 days ago. And I think that's the pitfall, right? People get into that
big time,
comparing just one day ago.
And I get so many people that they'll come in, and these are people who've been hurt for 10, 20, 30 years. Okay. Uh-huh. Yeah, I tried that last week, 2 days, didn't work. And I'm going, no, you don't need to do it every day. Just days you brush your teeth. Okay, yeah. So then people will go in and say, okay, I get it now. I got to do it every day. It's not like I'm going to do it when I have the time. Uh-huh. Okay, this is every day you brush your teeth. Every day you go to the restroom. Every day you get some time to sleep. It's part of your routine and your lifestyle. And once the changing your emotional state is part of your lifestyle is going to change to match that emotional state. You will become what you think about. Mm-hmm. You've heard this before. I mean, everybody, we're talking from Socrates and Plato, from Christ. I mean, all the great teachers of our world, you become what you think about. Mm-hmm. But people don't know that they're in charge of their thoughts. By God, you can change your thoughts. Mm-hmm. And then you use that physical activity, just like you're going, it's the gym of the mind. Mm-hmm. Okay? It's working out your neurons. And then what you think about changes your world. Mm-hmm. And if your world is limited, use the 100 things to do, be, or become to really see what your potential is, which by God, it's limitless, because you're a being of light and energy, which sounds like hippie bullshit, mm-hmm. but it's not. The more we realize about anatomy, physiology, and neurology, you are an energy being, and your thoughts actually can control your expression of genes or your suppression of genes. That means your thoughts can control cancer expression or cancer submission, mm-hmm. okay, or cancer reversal or disease expression, disease reversal. That's why 100% of the time, when we talk about people's health, we talk about the physical stressors, the chemical stressors, and the emotional stressors. People tend to throw their hands up and say, emotional stressors, what am I supposed to do? Depression runs in my family. Mm-hmm. Screw that. Change it. Mm-hmm. Do the exercise. Go to the mental gym. Do the I am exercises, and do the 100 things to do, be, or become to change your potential.
I mean, this is really more about building your life, right? You look at a house, and there's schematics, blueprints, plans, contractors, people out there building to certain specifications. And I think what happens is a lot of times people just don't have a vision of where they want their life to be or go or who they want to become. And they I see this a lot. I think a lot of people get out of college and they think, I'm trained to be an engineer and I want to do engineering type stuff. But then some job comes along in a factory somewhere that pays $75,000 or $100,000 and they're just like, I'm 22 years old, 23 years old. This would be a great job. I'll just do this for a while until I get my engineering thing going. Or it could be like that with your health or with a business or whatever. People a lot of times take the first good thing that comes their way instead of orchestrating, this is what I'm doing. So I'm going to turn down a $200,000 a year job right out of college because I want to be a school teacher. I want to be a writer. But it takes the desire of someone to really orchestrate how they want their life to go and who they want to become, and to be able to turn down really good opportunities that come along all of our way. But it's hard. It's
designing your life. Mm-hmm. Earl Nightingale does a great series on that. And this, I think, is back in the 60s and 70s, where he talks about a lot of us don't design our life. Uh-huh. We don't purposely pick a lifestyle, a career, a home. We just kind of like fall from one aspect to another aspect.
Yeah.
And we've never been taught that you can do whatever you want, whatever you think about, your world can change. You have limitless potential. How many parents talk like that?
I know, right?
How many doctors talk like that?
Yeah.
And all the doctors should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so we get reinforced with this idea that we need to do certain things and fulfill obligations and things, but what really, what did we want to do when we were kids, or what kind of health do we want to manifest? And these are all just choices. Mm-hmm. You can do. I like what you're saying about the physiology changing, because a lot of times we think, saying affirmations is just simply saying a word or two. But when you're getting your breathing involved and all of this, it starts helping you embody and feel different about the statements that you're making. It's not just saying words, right?
Yeah.
So that's what's cool.
I mean, I taught human dissection for 8 years. Okay. And the last few years was fun because I was like guest lecturing. Uh-huh. And you have these bodies in front of you, and knowing that your thoughts can actually control kidney function, stomach function. And if a doctor that's listening to this now doesn't understand that, while you're measuring gastric secretions or peristalsis of the intestinal tract, stand on their foot, or have them watch a scary movie. Have them watch some frightening scenes while they're trying to digest food. What do you think is going to happen to peristalsis? What do you think is going to happen to gastric secretions? Everything's going to be shutting down because you're stimulating a sympathetic response. So you're changing their physiology just through their stimulus, their thought process. Uh-huh. Absolutely. And so everyone will say, well, yeah, that'll work, but can I really take charge of my life myself? Yeah, you can.
Yeah, just learning how to harness it, right?
Yeah, you could change the TV station from, bombs and, stuff being blown up to puppies running through the field.
Yeah. I mean, you think about too, people are able to, if you were to just close your eyes right now, people that are listening or anybody, if you just close your eyes and start thinking a very stressful situation, like maybe you're getting mugged or getting into a fight or something like that, and just close your eyes and imagine yourself being in that situation, you could start making your heart beat fast through your thought. So why does it have to stop there?
And that's what people do who've developed chronic illness or disease. And I know that requires some ownership, because no, I didn't develop it. I got hit by a car or struck by lightning or something. Mm-hmm. But to stay in that state, no one has told you that the mental aspect of healing is just as important as the physical and the chemical aspect. Mm-hmm. And you got to master that mental state. And this is where goals come in. This is where it gives you the power to master your emotional state. Mm-hmm. That's why depression and anxiety aren't hereditary. Of course, then like 10 people now are going to throw up their hands and say, oh yeah, every member of my family, except for that damn uncle.
Why was he so happy? I don't know why he was so jovial all the time.
Yeah. So you can do it. You can master your emotional state in any circumstance. I mean, look, imagine being poor, black, blind in the segregated South. Mm-hmm. Okay? Who would think Ray Charles would affect the lives of millions? I mean, that changed the world with his art. You know, because he had this vision. I mean, he had this. I don't know if he knew when he was 8 and 9 years old of his limitless potential. He just followed his passion, his dream, and changed the world.
Well, maybe one of the issues that people are having is that they get away from what their passion really is. So they forget that they have the limitless potential because they're doing something, or they're expressing poor health because they moved away from whatever their initial passion was.
But that's every patient that comes in with a chronic illness.
Is it?
That's what they forget, the potential. So we give them the exercise. We do the 100 things to do, be, or become. Okay, and then I yell at them if they don't do it. And then we give them the I am exercises, and we work with them during their care. And we teach them how to deep sleep and teach them how to do it, because this stuff works 100% of the time. It doesn't work 20%. Okay, the neuro-linguistic programming to change your emotional state works 100% of the time. It's like dropping keys. 100% of the time, they're going to fall down and not up.
Right. Yeah, no, that's awesome. So for the people that it hasn't worked for, is it because they either, like you said earlier, the timeline of their goals is skewed, or they're just not putting it into practice? Is that what you're saying?
The timeline isn't there, and they might not realize that it's possible.
See, that's where the belief comes in, right? And so when you said a second ago, this works 100% of the time, that's what a lot of people on our show write in and say, this doctor said I should be eating this diet. This doctor said I should do this, or this doctor said blah, blah, blah. But really what I tell people is, what do you believe? What do you believe? Pick Dr. A or Dr. B and just go with that. Just believe it.
Yeah, I mean,
because it's going to help.
One doc saying healthy starches are great for you, that build civilizations. The other one's going paleo is all the way to go.
Yep.
The other one, vegan is it, raw vegan is there. All of them work.
Just pick one and go.
Pick one. Yeah, they're all going to work for you. Yeah. And what people do when they say it doesn't work, they're not doing the process. They're not looking at the 100 things to do, be, or become has a weightlifting exercise. They're not looking at the I am exercises has a physical exercise. They're putting an emotional content on a physical exercise.
Okay.
That you require your body posture, you require your breathing, you require your intonation, and you require to speak that to do it. I am a professional basketball player. I am strong. I am fast. I am great on the court. I am the best dribbler. I am the best free throw shooter. You say that to get that mental state, and it's going to change your emotional state, and it's going to change your actions. You're going to want to do that during the day. You're not going to be eating the cake, but by God, you're going to be walking around with a basketball everywhere. Yeah.
I know, right? Working on your craft, and
you'll be going to the food fair, or the farmer's market, dribbling while you got your bag in one hand. It's going to be part of your lifestyle.
So with a lot of people that come in, you're obviously giving them detailed instructions on how to do these things and stuff like that, and basically ways to sleep better, eat better, take care of themselves. What is causing them to be sick in the first place? Why do most people not take into an account basic ways to take care of themselves? What's the deal there?
It's the society. There's 3 stressors: physical, chemical, and emotional. If you have a sedentary lifestyle, or sit down, or you're lifting stuff all day long, or you have some type of physical trauma, that's going to present in joint pain, back pain, neck pain, some type of autonomic nervous system function, decreased blood supply to the gut, high blood pressure. Your body's going to respond with hormonal changes and elevations in cholesterol. The ignorant world that we're living in now thinks, oh, God, those are diseases. Take this drug, that drug, this drug. And then the person says, well, I have a disease, I have an illness, I have ulcerative colitis, I have sleep disorders. And then they go to the healthcare professionals who are way more ignorant than they are, because they've been taught a completely false allopathetic lifestyle of these diseases actually existing. and they're taught by authorities that yes, this person has Crohn's, this person has this disease, this person has depression or a bipolar disorder. Bullshit. I mean, when you look at depression, one of the signs that they look at on depression is do you have trouble sleeping? They never are taught, what if this person sucks at sleeping? They never get REM state of sleep. If you put a person where you limit their sleep, you physically cause them to not get REM state of sleep, within 5 days they're going to show signs of depression.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they're taught to treat depression like it's a disease, not like it's low serotonin or low dopamine production as a result of a physical or neurologic system.
It's just something the patient has. There's no real reason for it, and we'll give them these drugs.
What the new healthcare system is realize that diseases, most of them don't exist. We're talking 97%. 3% of diseases are genetic. Every other disease, like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, type 2 diabetes, all of these are adaptive physiology, and they're adapting to the physical, chemical, or emotional stressors. And no doctor you've got one set of doctors maybe kind of partially pay attention to the emotional stressors, but they're doing it wrong.
Uh-huh.
Okay? They're saying, oh, you're depressed, take this drug that causes suicide. Yeah, that's smart.
Yeah.
Okay, they're not saying, Jesus, your body is intelligent. You can rewire your brain. We can change your emotional state. I'm going to give you an exercise to change your emotional state. We're going to give you nutrients to change your emotional state. Your brain has been deficient in omega-3s and in minerals. That's in healthy fats. That's where your brain's not firing off correctly. And then we're going to change your physical state by getting your physical structure to change, because the brain gets its information through movement and perception of the environment. The real doctors of the future are going to realize that most diseases are adaptive physiology and don't really exist.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and you know, that's
a whole paradigm change.
Yeah, and
it's happening with the patients more so than the actual doctors, because they're stuck in a sort of archaic paradigm that's never going to change, really.
Luckily, I'm telling enough patients to fire their doctors.
Yes,
and they're even afraid. Oh, if I stop taking the cholesterol drug, my doctor's going to be upset with me. Screw him. He's working for you. If he's not into your health, if he's not actually fixing something and he's just drugging a symptom, he's not a real doctor. He needs to be fired.
Uh-huh.
You get somebody with objective results that actually does things that change your lifestyle for the better and makes you healthier and stronger and fit and more vibrant, where you can experience life. That's a doctor.
Right.
Go back to the old days. The old days, you would pay your doctor when you felt good. You'd stop paying him when you felt bad.
Yeah.
Because that son of a bitch is not keeping your health right. Okay?
Right.
That's, give an objective analysis.
Right.
If you're taking 20 drugs, like that one guy I was telling you about, and it took you 15 minutes to walk 20 feet, those doctors suck. Okay? They need to be fired.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And then you need more patients to take their health into their own hands.
But they're in a delusionary state thinking that they actually have a disease. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll change that.
Yeah, yeah. Doc, I know you got to go. You're a busy man, got lots to do today. What's the best website? Because I know some things are changing. What would be the best website to send people to?
Owner's Guide?
Owner's Guide?
Owners?
Check out the YouTube channel and BergmanFamilyChiropractic.com.
Oh.
Bergman Chiropractic.
So Bergman chiropractic.com.
Okay.
And our YouTube channel, which is John B. Chiro.
Okay.
That's good. And we still have owners-guide.com.
Okay.
And that's going to funnel you over to a freaking amazing site. We got about 2 or 3 weeks before that's coming
really?
on, and it's like goosebump stuff.
Wow. I didn't know it's that close.
I think
it's a couple weeks?
Yeah, it's a couple of weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, this is going to be so much
So
fun.
owners-guide will just redirect to a brand new portal.
Yep.
That's awesome. Awesome. Doc, thanks for being here.
Thanks, buddy. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh, it's amazing. Thank you so much.